The plan was simple. Open the estate office in the west wing of Sandringham, catalog the legacy paintings designated for private restoration, and lock the doors before the late afternoon rain set in across the Norfolk grounds. But when Prince William pulled back the heavy gilt frame of a 1990s portrait of Princess Diana, a small, faded cream envelope dropped onto the hardwood floor with a soft, distinct thud. Before we reveal what this really means for the royal family, hit subscribe on Crown Scope, turn on the bell, and don't go anywhere, because this story is far from over. According to reports, the envelope bore no official royal postmark or formal wax seal, only a single line written in dark blue ink, to William, for his 40s. For several long moments, the room was completely silent, except for the heavy ticking of an antique grandfather clock. Insiders claim William stood frozen, staring down at his mother's distinct, flowing handwriting, a voice from August 1995 reaching across 31 years into a very different world. What had been left behind in that frame was not a political document, a press statement, or an legal claim. It was an unposted 4-page personal letter written during one of the most turbulent summers in modern royal history. But why had it remained hidden behind a canvas in Norfolk for over 3 decades? And why had no member of the estate staff, the archival team, or the inner family circle ever mentioned its existence? To understand how this envelope lay undisturbed through 3 decades of history, one has to return to the late summer of 1995. Sandringham House was undergoing a subtle rearrangement of its private living quarters. The personal apartments were being reorganized, and several private portraits commissioned during the late 1980s and early 1990s were quietly moved from the primary corridors to the restricted archive rooms in the West Wing. Sources say that during those hectic weeks of transition, Princess Diana spent several quiet afternoons alone at Sandringham, organizing her personal books, stationery, and keepsakes. It was during one of those solitary visits that she tucked a sealed letter inside the protective wooden backing of her favorite oil portrait, a portrait depicting her sitting peacefully in the grounds of Highgrove. Those who knew the estate operations at the time recall that the painting was placed into high-grade archival storage shortly thereafter, sealed behind protective glass and heavy oak framing, and forgotten as the decade rushed toward its tragic conclusion in 1997. Decades passed. Queen Elizabeth II maintained the private quarters with meticulous care, but the backing of that specific frame was never disturbed, until the scheduled heritage restoration audit of August 2026. As William broke the paper seal, the aroma of aged paper and preserved cedar filled the quiet room. Sources say his hands trembled slightly as he unfolded the thick stationery. The letter began softly, describing a quiet afternoon at Highgrove, where a young William and Harry were playing near the old cedar tree. Diana wrote of her deepest, most private wish for her eldest son, not about crowns, titles, or public expectations, but about his heart. She wrote, "When you read this, William, you will be a man carrying burdens I can only imagine. But promise me you will never let the institution swallow the boy who used to laugh until his ribs ached under the oak trees." As William read further, the emotional weight of the document deepened. Diana had detailed a series of private promises she wanted him to keep as he stepped into mature adulthood. Promises regarding his brother, his future family, and his own personal peace. According to reports, Princess Anne was the first family member to enter the West Wing office after William found the letter. She had been overseeing the management of the surrounding Norfolk acreage when a junior staff member quietly informed her that the Prince of Wales had requested a moment of solitude in the cataloging room. Eyewitness accounts suggest the conversation between aunt and nephew was filled with raw, unscripted emotion. Anne walked in quietly, her boots echoing softly on the wooden floorboards. Seeing the open letter in William's hands and the displaced portrait frame leaning against the wall, she stopped. "You found it," Anne said softly, her usual pragmatic tone softening completely. "We knew she spent hours in this room during that final summer, William, but no one ever dared to disturb her personal framing." William looked up, holding the worn paper. She knew, Aunt Anne. She knew how heavy this decade would feel. She wrote this before everything fell apart. "Your mother possessed an instinct for things long before they arrived. Anne replied quietly, stepping closer to place a steadying hand on his shoulder. She wanted you to have her voice when you needed it most. Not as a public figure, but as her son. She asked me to safeguard Harry, William whispered, his voice tightening with emotion. She wrote that no matter what distance grew between us, the foundation we built in those early years had to remain unbroken. Anne looked down at the handwriting she recognized instantly. Then listen to her, William. The crown demands duty, but blood demands memory. But that was only the beginning. Within 48 hours of the discovery, news of the letter's existence circulated quietly through the highest levels of the family circle. King Charles, who was staying at Burke Hall for the early part of the summer retreat, was informed during a private evening call. Sources close to the king report that Charles fell entirely silent upon hearing the details of what Diana had written in 1995. The king requested that the original stationery remain strictly protected, asking William if he would be willing to share its contents in person during their upcoming gathering at Balmoral. What made the timing of this discovery so profound was the current state of the family dynamic. With William navigating his expanding duties as heir, Catherine recovering her strength, and Harry living thousands of miles away in California, the letter felt like a carefully timed intervention from the past. And this is where the story becomes more complicated. Among the pages was a specific page dedicated to the relationship between the two brothers. Diana had written a detailed, intimate account of a private conversation she had held with a 12-year-old William regarding his younger brother. According to reports, the letter revealed a forgotten pact made in the nurseries of Kensington Palace, a promise where William had sworn to be Harry's lifelong protector, regardless of how public scrutiny might try to divide them. Diana wrote, "Harry will always look to you, William. Even when he pushes away, he is looking for your anchor. Do not let the world teach you to speak to each other through intermediaries." The discovery sent emotional shockwaves through William's inner circle. Those close to the Prince of Wales claim he spent hours walking the perimeter of the Sandringham estate that evening, carrying the copy of the letter in his jacket pocket. It was during this walk that William reached out directly to his cousin, Princess Beatrice, who has long served as a quiet, diplomatic bridge within the wider family network. According to reports, Beatrice met William near the estate gardens just as dusk was falling over the Norfolk landscape. "Is it true, William?" Beatrice asked gently as they walked down the gravel path. "Did Aunt Diana really leave something behind?" William pulled the copy from his pocket and handed it to her in silence. Beatrice read the lines under the dim light of the courtyard lamps, her eyes filling with tears. "She foresaw everything," Beatrice whispered, handing the paper back with care. "She knew the pressure would try to tear the two of you apart." "She didn't just foresee the pressure, Beatrice," William said, his voice laced with intense reflection. "She gave us the solution. She wrote that forgiveness isn't an institutional strategy. It's a personal choice made in private." "Are you going to reach out to him?" Beatrice asked directly. "Are you going to tell Harry what you found?" William looked out across the quiet fields of Sandringham. "I have to. Not because of the press, and not because of protocol, but because my mother asked me to keep a promise I almost forgot I made." But there was one detail almost everyone missed. At the very bottom of the fourth page, hidden beneath Diana's signature, was a small postscript written in lighter ink, added months after the original letter had been composed. It was dated early 1996. The postscript contained a short, 3-sentence message addressed to Catherine, a woman Diana had never met, but whose existence she intuitively anticipated in her son's future. Diana had written, "To the woman who will walk beside my son, give him room to grieve when the world expects him to be strong. Teach him that love is found in quiet rooms, not in grand halls." When William showed these lines to Catherine at Adelaide Cottage later that week, the emotional impact was overwhelming. Sources say Catherine sat quietly on the veranda, tracing her fingers over the faded blue ink. "She knew you would need a sanctuary, William," Catherine said softly, her voice filled with deep warmth and emotion. "She was trying to build a shelter for you 30 years before you needed it." "It feels like she's still guiding us," William replied, sitting beside her. "After all these years, after all the noise and division, Her voice is the only thing that feels completely clear. Then let's use her clarity, Catherine said gently, looking at her husband. Let's use it to heal what's broken. The discovery of the 1995 Sandringham envelope marks a profound turning point in the internal emotional narrative of the modern royal family. It serves as a stark, powerful reminder that behind the grand pageantry, the ceremonial uniforms, and the relentless public scrutiny, this is ultimately a family shaped by real human love, deep loss, and lingering memory. Diana's long-lost letter didn't contain secrets meant to harm or divide. It contained a mother's eternal desire to protect her children from the very isolation that defined so much of her own life. It delivered a quiet, unmistakable message across time. That true legacy is not built of stone, titles, or historical record, but of the silent promises kept between those who love each other. As the sun set over the Sandringham estate, leaving the old house standing silent against the Norfolk sky, William placed the original letter inside a secure leather binder, keeping it close at hand for his upcoming journey north to Balmoral. Sometimes, the most powerful answers to our present struggles are not found in future plans, but in the quiet, forgotten voices of those who loved us first. A crown can be inherited in a single moment of duty, but a mother's love is a sanctuary built to outlast the centuries.